What is up, guys? So in this next lesson, I want to focus on some technique-based things and some flourishes that you can use that are particularly synonymous with the style neo-soul. So I think a great exercise to start with is what I like to call the gospel flick. Now, really, this is something that is actually maybe overused in this style. Straight away, I can tell if a player's been studying neo-soul or, the gospel things if I hear this lick. First of all, I think we should apply it to a bog standard E minor 9 shape. This is probably the most common neo-soul chord shape. So if we go to the 12th fret on the D string, G string, and B string, we're going to play those three together, but then we're going to put our little finger on the 9th. Remember, the root is E, so that is the major 9th of E, the 14th fret of the high E. And this shape sounds like this. Now, what we are going to do is actually use a series of hammer-ons and pull-offs to achieve a kind of flurry of notes. So, how do we do this? We think of this as the straight line. This is the anchor point, the first finger, when it's barring across. What you will do with each individual one of these notes is hammer onto a note from the pentatonic or a note from the Dorian scale. So you can get sounds like this. So to expand on that, this is where the gospel flick comes in. So you could take that right the way through the scale. Let me give you an example of that right now. This is used absolutely everywhere. It's kind of the typical neo-soul lick. So you can do that whenever you play a minor 7 chord. So you could take, series of them like we did before, or maybe let's just take two. Let's take A minor 7 and then B minor 7, for example. So I'll just play those shapes first. They sound really cool together. If you have two minor 7 chords next to each other like that, a tone apart, what you can actually do to add a bit of spice is play a chromatic note in there. So by that, I mean we are going to play the gap, and we can take the same shape, just move it down. So this time we're going to go B minor 7, moving towards A minor 7, or back down to A minor 7. And we're going to just play the same lick chromatically down. Listen to this. That is starting to sound now very, very neo-soul. But to take this one step further, how can we expand on this? I think a great way to start is to go right the way back to the diatonic C major scale, and we can look at adding in notes around each chord shape from the pentatonic scale or from the Lydian scale. Totally up to you. If we go to the first one then, we are going to take a C major 7 that's built on chord 1. We'll take this shape. So you could add in notes around it like this. We could take D minor 7, that's chord 2, and do the same thing. Chord 3, which is E minor 7, so the same kind of idea. F major 7, chord 4. G dominant 7, chord 5. Chord 6, A minor 7. Chord 7's a little bit tricky. Usually I leave this just how it is. So that's the B minor 7 flat 5. And back to C major 7. So if I play that almost like a scale now, that will give you an example of how this can actually sound with these flurries. So at this point, guys, I think it's cool to talk about what's going on with the right hand and the left hand when I'm playing this stuff or when I'm comping. So a lot of it is to do with the synchronization of the right hand and the left hand. Depends on the context, but say I am playing with just a singer, or maybe I am just playing solo guitar stuff. I really need to be focusing on two things. It's almost like playing a bass line, a drum groove, and then chords on top. So how do I achieve this sound? I think really you need to be thinking of two separate things with your right hand. So we'll have like a bass line going, which will be predominantly dominated by the pick, and then the chords or the more harmonic information will be literally controlled with these three fingers using hybrid picking. What do I mean by that? Let me give a quick demonstration then. So say I'm just going to play around a C dominant 7th chord. What I'm going to do is play a little bit of a bass line, and then what I'm going to do on top is play some chords using the hybrid picking so that you can see the separation between these two. So let's give that a go. So as you can see, I used a mixture there of using the pick as the bass line. I also used the pick and the fingers together sometimes for chords, but mainly I'm thinking of an upper structure being controlled by these three and then the bass line being controlled by the pick. So maybe part of the reason why you'd want to do this is that you don't need to play every single note from a chord voicing all the time. It would get very boring very quickly. Really what I'm doing is I am controlling which note rings out, or the dominant note, if you like, in this whole sound with these fingers. So sometimes you'll hear things by where I'll really target one note. Say I want to hear that major 6th interval over that dominant 7th chord, then I'm going to use one of these fingers to really outline that. Let me give you a quick example now. So if I wasn't using this separation of the hybrid pick and the pick, then this is kind of what that would sound like. So as you can hear with that, there's less of an emphasis on that major 6th interval at the top. You're hearing the whole chord kind of together. I guess with hybrid picking, this is actually something that you can do, which you can't do with picking. It's worth pointing out that with hybrid picking, you can play every note at the same time, which is something that you can't achieve by strumming. But we also have a degree of separation, which we can use to our advantage to make certain notes stick out, depending on our accents. I think this is just a really cool way, and it's very modern in the sense of, you are not just hearing a block chord, you're hearing little melodies going on within these chord structures. Another cool thing that you can do with these chord shapes is all to do with the sliding motions. So one super common trick is to slide in from a semitone below or a semitone above. Let me just quickly demonstrate that with a basic E minor 7 chord. So to kind of round this lesson off, I think it's a great practice point to be able to look at different rhythms, listen to bass players and see what ideas they come up with, and see if you can actually match chords with them. There are tons of examples out there. Listen to Stevie Wonder, songs like I Wish, Superstition. See if you can relate what's going on with the bass line to an upper chord structure. Cheers, guys. I hope you enjoyed that lesson. See you in the next one.